Well, hello and welcome back, and I hope you've all had a very nice Christmas and a very pleasant time, whatever you've been doing. But my plans have been scuppered. I plan to go down to the woods and have a family get together around the shelter, coffee, hot chocolate, put some lights up, let the kids run around and play, and take the dog with us. As you can see, I've been faced with yet again another storm coming in off the Atlantic. Now the chickens ain't impressed with the weather at all. In fact, they're pretty moody, but that hasn't spoiled our spirits, and we're actually going to go out for a family drive and have a little look around the county and then head to the coast. We're determined to spend some family time together and enjoy the outdoors, even if it actually means we're actually going to get wet and cold. So this is a strange period in the Christmas holidays. Christmas Day and Boxing Day has happened, the celebrations have come and gone, and all the good times, the laughs and the laughter have faded away, and now we're waiting for the New Year celebrations. And this is the first time I've been in the workshop in possibly a couple days, and just walking in here I can feel it feels like it's in hibernation. The creativity that is alive in here, and I feel that buzz every time I walk in here, just feels like it's asleep and dormant. I've come in here and I instantly got that desire to want to create and do something, but I do know that's not going to happen today. I'm going to be taking one look around, soaking it in, formulating in my head plans that I have and have been thinking on, and what I want to start doing for the new year. But I'm going to have to close the door and move on to the family time. Everywhere you look in our house, there's Christmas paraphernalia everywhere. The magic is alive, and the two boys believe in every ounce of what Christmas is about, every story we tell them, and they have that wide-eyed expression. They're still playing with the toys that they got from Christmas that they haven't actually had a chance to really investigate and play with. And that feels nice. It's heartwarming to see them playing with their gifts. And while we like being around the fire and enjoying being inside nice and cosy, one member of our family needs to get out regardless of the weather. And that is Bracken. And I will have to take him outside. I don't mind doing that, because after a couple days being inside and being the person I am, I'm keen to get outside, outdoors, and I just feel cheated by the weather that I can't take my family into the woods. So on Boxing Day, just before it got dark, we found a book swap, and we actually picked up some books for ourselves, and we were poring over the titles, and it just felt like Christmas again. And we all came away with some books that we had some kind of meaning for us, and we've all been excited to get stuck into them. So looking out the front door, the weather's getting no better. In fact, the wind is picking up at the moment. So I'm going to have to put my wellies, waterproof coat on, and get Bracken ready to go. I'm kind of a little bit hesitant, but I know I've got to go out in it. Now it's rained that hard and that much, a lot of the lanes and roads around where I live are turning into small little rivers, and there's a lot of puddles which are almost the size of small lakes. Now Bracken's seen a pheasant that's obviously escaped the shooting season and is in the field. He saw it before I did, and it took me a fair while to stare into the field before I could actually spot it. But that's Bracken all over. He can sense, smell and see things I can't. Now the farmer keeps these 3 cows in the field. Now Bracken's very familiar with them. They're almost like friends. They will actually run over to us and sniff Bracken. Bracken will go down and try and assert his dominance over them. But as you can see, they're probably 3/4 of a ton each, if not a ton. And little Bracken there barking, trying to assert his dominance, doesn't really cut it. And all 3 of them all know that. No. 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 Good. Now as I head out the village, I'm really going to get hit by the wind because I start climbing. I'm leaving the village behind basically and heading up a lane behind it onto a hill. This hill overlooks a vast chunk of the landscape around us, and my kids even call it top of the world. And when we take them to school, sometimes we'll stop for a few seconds on top of the hill so they can take a panoramic 360-degree look around the whole of the area they live before we go down into the next valley on the way to school. Now it's just basic physics and the laws of nature. If you live on a hill, water will run down a hill, and as you can see it's doing it here, creating almost small rivers, and this leads to the lower ground flooding, and a lot of the fields around me are susceptible to flooding. Now we both knew this hedge was on its last legs, but it's finally given up. I've got 5 posts have literally snapped in half due to being wind buffeted and being saturated in water. So I do have some DIY and work to do after the Christmas period. We finally got the kids loaded. Now we're heading out the door and we're heading to the coast. We're on a mini road trip. We've got Christmas music in the car. I've just stopped to take a panoramic look around at the area that I hike, wild camp and bushcraft in, and I'm looking up onto the high ground, and below that sits the valleys and the woodlands that I actually frequent and can be found in. Now we're going to pass through a lot of the little villages that sit on the moor or just off the moor as we skirt around it and head towards Davidstow, and from there we'll make our way to Trebarwith Strand. And here's the Rising Sun, a classic moorland pub just sitting just off the high ground. Now we're heading through the single track lanes, heading out towards the old World War II Davidstow airfield. And from here, all the livestock seems to have come down from the high ground to shelter down on the lower, flatter ground to try to get away from the buffeting wind. Can you see them, Corey, out your window? Lots of baby ones as well. There's one right here in the ditch. You have to be careful he doesn't come out. Haven't seen no cows. Oh, here's the cows up here, Cody. Now I'm driving down the famous single track road, which in summer can be a real nightmare to navigate, with traffic coming up and coming down at the same time. It's obviously quiet because it's winter and people are staying indoors in the warm for Christmas. But there are a few hardy souls out who want to stretch their legs and burn off some of that Christmas food. Now there's a lot of old cottages, but most of them are holiday lets and holiday accommodation now. But it still doesn't distract from the fact when you come around the corner and you get that full view of the sea and the island that sits just off the coast. It really does hit home that it is a spectacular and beautiful part of the world. Now I've obviously told the kids there's pirates living on that island, and it's called Skull Island, so they're more than enthusiastic about seeing it. So as you can see, it's quite rough conditions today, and sadly people have lost their life on this beach, not only surfing and swimming, but have been washed off rocks at high tide here. So it always pays to be cautious around the ocean, even if you're on the rocks. And I've always said that you should never treat the ocean with contempt or even turn your back on it. Now I've been coming to surf here for well over 30 years, although less frequently during the last 5 to 6 years, quite simply because I tend to be gravitating to the more easier, less tide restrictive places, because I'm usually under time constraints due to having a young and a small family. So as you can see, the river's brown. Quite simply, it's washing down all the silt and the mud from the fields and the valleys. And as you can see, over years it's carved a big cleft in the rocks, and that runs down on the left hand side. But on the right hand side there is a track which, if memory serves me rightly, was used for horses and carts or mules or donkeys, which mining used to take place in the cliffs, and I also believe sand was extracted at one point from the beach. But as you can see, it's left this weird little setup, and the thing is, people do get caught out because they walk along the finger of rock and they get waves coming in on either side of them, and it can sweep them off their feet if they're unaware of this. Even with what I've said, you can look at this place and feel hypnotised by the beauty, and even on a day like this you can feel drawn to it. It has a magnetism, and you can actually feel almost spiritually uplifted just by being here, and the sheer power of the ocean that surrounds you. So even though it's not clean, if it was clean and back in my day, I have surfed these waves bigger than what you're looking at now. And I do have some photos from another session I had at a nearby beach. So just before New Year, we always kind of look back and reflect on the year that's gone by. New Year and New Year's celebration period, or New Year's Day, we focus on going forward. And I would just like to show you some photos from this summer, and you can see the total contrast from today, as I'm showing you, to what we were enjoying in the summer. And even though I'm not surfing, I'm having a fantastic time with the kids, getting them used to the water. And you can see the quality of these rock pools. They were just made for kids to have fun. So we've just driven through Tintagel on the way home. Now you may be forgiven to think that this is a castle. It's not. It's actually a hotel sitting on the headland, and it's quite a famous one at that. But you come to a little roundabout, you can do a little bit of a turn around and come back. And you also get fantastic views down over the actual North Cornish coastline, and that is the main attraction. And I'm just going to stop here and have a quick little look over this low hedge. It is actually blowing a full gale now, and it's beginning to whip the actual outer part of the sea up, and you can see it actually starting to put bits of white cap right on the actual open ocean water, not just in on the coast. But what a stunning view, and what a location. So it was dark. It is that time of year when we got home, and I've just taken Bracken for a walk, and I'm just walking back. It was dark by the time we completed the walk, but this has been something different, and I've brought you along. I've wanted to kind of show you just a little bit of our family and our family life and how it all fits together. Quite often YouTube will present just one side of life, but you can see the complete package, and this is us in our raw form, interacting with basically each other and the environment we're in on the days I can't get into the woodlands bushcrafting or wild camping. So all that's left to be said is take care, stay safe. This is Andy from Folklore Hiking Sticks and Hidden Valley Footpaths. All the best, and I hope to catch you guys out on the trail.